Welcome back. I'll spend some time going over my worst tenant, that nightmare tenant in the past video, but I don't want to push all the people who are interested in becoming a landlord away. I do want to give you some good stories as well. So this video is going to be all about my best tenant. My best tenant, the A1 Perico. Yes, sir. All right, so this tenant is actually my sister, my little sister. Her name is Tommy. And I'm gonna give you the backstory. There's more to it than just family and why she was a good tenant. So originally, when I bought this property in San Jacinto in 2021, I went back and I went to go visit my family, of course. And I was speaking to her about, hey, you know, what's going on? She was letting me know that at the time she was trying to qualify for an apartment in San Diego. If anyone's been to San Diego, you know the rent prices are ridiculous. And they were asking her for being able to pay 2 to 3 times as much as the rent is. And unfortunately, as an individual person, she didn't have roommates that she was going to live with. She didn't have a family member that she was going to, you know, offset the rent with. She wasn't going to qualify at that time. So she was like, hey, Vernon, I know you got the property. If you have a vacant unit, could you help me out? Stuff like that. So it ended up being that I had a tenant who wanted to move elsewhere. So the opportunity opened up for me to allow her to live at my property, occupy one of my units. So this is some backstory for you. She ended up moving from San Diego to San Jacinto, occupy the unit. It's a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom. Instead of me charging her $14.50, which is the market rent, which is, if you know this wasn't family, that's what I would charge a normal person. Instead of charging her $14.50, I actually only charged her $1,250 per month. So that's the benefit of having people that you know in good places. So what made her a good tenant? Number one, I knew, and this is something that you may not be able to know about tenants who are not your family, but I knew that her moving from San Diego to San Jacinto, she might be able to get her job moved as well, but she might have to find a new job. So I knew with what she had saved, that if anything went wrong, she would still be able to take care of the rent, even if she didn't have an income coming in. That's number one. And for the most part, you're not going to know that about a tenant. But in this particular case, me being her brother, I knew this. So that helped out. The second thing was that really made her stand out as a good tenant is going to be she paid a week in advance. So if the rent was due January 1st, what she would do is she would pay December 22nd or December 20th or December 18th, which made it very easy for me as a landlord to be able to say, hey, you know what? I know what's coming in this month. I know how to budget things. You know, if I need to take care of a toilet that's overflowing, or the garbage disposal is messed up at a different property that I have, I know what's coming in and I don't have to worry. So this is good, and this is a positive, because a lot of my tenants, you know, unfortunately, they might pay on the 3rd. They might pay, you know, January 4th or January 5th. Anything after the 5th, they're going to get a late fee, and they know it. So I usually get the rent before then. So that's the second thing. The third thing is, you know, there wasn't a lot of commotion. There wasn't a lot of commotion. There wasn't a lot of asking for, hey, you know, I want to change the color of the walls in my back room. Could I paint it red, even though it's currently white? What? I've had people ask me that, hey, instead of me keeping these curtains the way they are, what I want to do is I want to, you know, bring my own curtains. Okay, sure. But she wasn't asking for these things. She wasn't asking for, oh yeah, well, could I also get, you know, central air conditioning, or could I get something that doesn't come with the unit? All this other stuff. So that's what I appreciated about her. And that's something that, you know, good tenants do. They go ahead and work with the lease. They work what's already given. They're not going to ask for 3, 4, or 5 other things that, you know, are unnecessary for the most part, like changing the color of your room for no reason. Can I paint the bathroom blue, but I want to keep my room pink, but I want to make the front room yellow? What kind of shit is this? So that's another thing that made her good as a tenant. The last thing was, and she ended up moving out, going to another place that worked for her better, is the way you leave your unit. When she moved in, I had already spent money on repainting. I had already spent money on cleaning things up. I had already spent money on, making things look spiffy, as good as they could be. And then when she moved out, there wasn't anything that I had to do. The floor was swept. There was nothing on the walls that wasn't there before. So, I've had tenants where they have kids and they're writing in crayon on the walls. They're throwing, food against the walls. You got to clean that up. All types of stuff. There was no holes in the wall. There was nothing that I had to spend money on to make it rent ready for the next person, which I really, really appreciated. So I do not want to leave people with a bad taste in their mouth, and people who are interested in real estate only hearing about the negativity, only hearing about bad stories. You also want to put out those good stories, and this is one of those good stories, and what you should probably look for if you're looking for a good tenant.